Hello and welcome to the Faith Building Podcast, episode 81 with your lovely and amazing host, Vladi Kuna.
And Norman Grader. Hi, guys.
Hello, lovely people. Today we want to speak a little bit about AI because AI is ruling the world more and more. And Vladi had an amazing example, and I hope I can pick that to open up today's call. She said, just imagine AI could create the perfect partner. That's how I understood it. Would you like it? And I think in the first moment we would say, oh, this would be the solution for the rest of our life, or create a perfect job, or create a perfect environment, or whatever you might want. But isn't it true that through the controversy, through the polarity, through the opposite, sometimes opinion, sometimes side, sometimes whatever you want to call it, of another person or what happens in the world, done through people, of course, same thing, makes life exciting? If I would offer you right now a flight ticket to a lonely island, would you take it? If I would tell you this would be the solution for a perfect life. Now think about it. I fly to a lonely, deserted island, and it's just me. I can take all the books, all the laptops, all the Netflix, all the whatever, and I promise you this would be the solution to live a happy life ever after. Why? Because on this deserted island would be nobody that could press your triggers. It's just you. It's the same if you say, I get rid of my partner, I live on my own for the rest of my life. Yeah, it's very convenient. You can watch the TV you want to watch, you can do the excitement things you want to do all on your own. But don't you have those rare moments at 11 at night when you have watched Netflix now for 8 hours and you're a little sick and tired of that and you're bored and you're lonely? Aren't you coming up with a thought that says, I created the life I want, I can do my routine all day long, nobody's bothering me, but for some reason, it's a little bit boring. And I'm not talking about the first day or the first week or the first month. But again, if you would be on vacation, no matter how beautiful it is, for a full year, you would lay in the sun chair outside, you would sip cocktails, everything would be brought to you, big buffet style, every day, 3 times a day. Would you really enjoy that still after a year, or would you say, I want to have my bread and my cheese and my sausages back that I have at home and make my own bread at night and have somebody that probably makes something else and not everything perfect. I don't want to have buffet and everything that's available. Just think about it. Therefore, does AI create the perfect world? In some cases, yes, but can you imagine where the world will end up if we are all so bored because AI takes care of everything? What would humans come up with that we stay or get excited again? And probably that's a good question. Vladi, what are your thoughts?
It's so funny because as you're talking, I want to pop a question to you guys. Like, who is the person you spend the most time with? It's yourself. It's really the way you talk to yourself, the way you're actually responding or reacting to your thoughts, the way you're feeling because of the past experiences and the conditionings we have. So really, even if we program a perfect partner, we would program them with our limitations, with the things we believe that they're the best. And yet, let's face it, it's those who challenge us that actually the love grows. It's those who are around you. Like, look in your life. Who is in your life for a long term? Who are the people you can trust? Who's the person you pick up the phone or you can just say something silly or something funny or do something? It's not you, and the realness happens in connection. And with AI, there isn't connection. It's a great tool. And I've been using it like once you learn how to do it more properly, I think I like certain things because before I would use it very vaguely. And that is also having an understanding. However, the possibilities over certainties. We are humans. We like certainty. This works. That's it. We want it forever. Well, that's never going to happen because the evolution happens all the time, whether you like it or not. And really, if we've seen this, like we're in the industry of authors and Hollywood and like we talk about with Norman, all the stuff, but you can see if you lose part of your creativity by relying too much on it. You do, because you become lazy. We're programmed to draw ourselves into the comfort unless we push ourselves. Oh, it's so much easier to throw something in there and the ChatGPT or, like Gemini AI or anything, just create it for you. But then you're kind of thinking, is this really me? Who am I? And this question, Bob asked us 8 years ago. And now I'm thinking we should actually start asking these questions in relation to AI and how much we can do. Because who are you now? Who are you really? So imagine you program your perfect partner and the partner just says whatever you want them to say. They will do whatever you ask them to say. It will not make you happy. I'm pretty certain that it will not make you happy. Maybe it will for a week because you will chill out and you will have this, but there's this amazing energy that comes, the drive to grow, the drive to succeed, and the drive to be happy stems from dissatisfaction. I call it push and pull effect. There's always this dream we want and we're moving towards it, or there's a dissatisfaction where you are activating yourself to get out of the comfort zone more. For me, it's the dissatisfaction that moves me much faster than the desire. Because I have all these dreams and I know at some point most of them, like it will happen or it will something. But it's the dissatisfaction which makes you stand there, think, hold on a second, it reevaluates. So you are really then connecting to what are my core values? And in that question, who am I? You think like, I am a different person than I was 5 years. It's not just that. In fact, I will be a different person when we finish recording this podcast than the person who started recording it. And all of us are just every experience we actually enter. And gliding into last episode when we talked about success, I remember that it was a Carlson show when he was asking one of the actors, like, if you could take this train to a past, where would you go? Like, you could get anywhere in your past. What was the moment where you just know, and you would, how old would you love to be? Where would you go back? And it was funny because as the guy was asking me the question, I thought like, not that I am living just the best life. There are things I would not want to relive, but I would not change anything. And the guy goes and says to him, I don't think I would change anything. So, like to a certainty, sometimes we're like, oh, okay, I didn't say something completely silly, but it doesn't matter what I say. It's what's important for me, because everything that happened, the adversity, the pain, the happiness, the abundance, or the bankruptcy made you who you are today. But what you do with it, that's the key. It's not what happened. It's how you respond or react to everything that happened, and how are you never giving up and picking yourself to move towards the right direction. What is your attitude? When Norman was talking about Keanu Reeves last episode, he mentioned several times how kind he was. He was really nice and polite and kind, like the person. It doesn't matter what happens to your life. Is that changing you to be more bitter? Is that changing you to be more machine? Let's go back to AI. Is like, they have no feelings. They will just say, oh, yes. So this person you would create would say, yeah, sure. Oh, you're upset. Let me pop up with a few ideas for you to get there. But there's no connection. You would slap and break this thing pretty soon. If it was comforting you all the time, it would pretty much be your ideal, right? Because that's what you wanted. You wanted someone not to moan at you, and then this person, imagine how ChatGPT works. So can you imagine having this partner in AI going like, oh, I'm sorry, you're upset. Let me come up with an idea. You could do this, or you could do this, and you could do this. And you say to him, no, but I don't feel like doing it because, you made me, oh, I know, I'm terrible. Well, let me do this. And you were like, shut up. And you would just break the things in a minute, because you don't want anyone who's agreeing with you all the time, who's saying, oh, yes, you're right. No, I'm not. Like you would then actually counteract it. And this is your inner fight. It has nothing to do with anything around. It is how you perceive yourself. So let me ask you this question. If you met you, and I'm meaning really your full yourself, you And that, well, no one's saying to you, get the ticket and go to your own island. Do you know why that is scary to say yes? Because you will have to live with yourself. And that is the most dangerous thing you can ever do. I love what he actually started, and I didn't know I will say this, but really, would you, if you met you, would you love you? Do you love how you react or respond? Do you love, and I'm not talking about achieving the physical stuff, I'm talking who you are. Are you happy with yourself? Are your reactions great? Are you supportive? What kind of friend you are? What kind of parent you are? What kind of daughter or son you are? What kind of boss or employee you are? Well, why would you actually love to spend? Because the person who you're gonna be in that island 24/7, asleep in your mind, in your thoughts, in your feelings, it's you. And then you realize that actually the human beings and their behaviors and everything, if you keep growing and learn to understand why certain behaviors don't need to impact us if we don't choose to, that's the fun life. It's where you can run and help someone. Somebody calls you, I'm totally in shit, can you come and help? Yeah, and you drop everything and you just go, because that is priority for right now. Regardless of clients and what you're doing, is that the kind of person you are? Because you're gonna live with yourself on that island. And it's really, really important to really start, like we were talking about the cleaning the house and cleaning the mind and getting the garden ready, but start with yourself. If you want to experience something, you're not experiencing it, and I can vouch for it, it's because you need to become match for it. You need to tidy up yourself first. And so many times, and I was speaking to actually 3 ladies and one of them is going through divorce, and she was saying, oh, I need to jump in. I said, never jump into a different relationship before you ground yourself, and then you love who you are, and then you're ready to become. Because what it comes from a fear. And probably many people going through that process can understand it's the fear of, oh my God, what's next? How am I going to do this financially? How am I going to have this? So, there's the logic of things should never be the reason you make a decision on jumping into something until you are ready. It's got nothing to do with what happens with the stuff around you. But if you don't ground yourself, you don't grow, and you're then sitting happy with yourself, now you're ready to go, because you're going to attract exactly the same thing you're trying to run away from. Whether it's marriage, whether it's health, whether it's a job, your boss, whether it's a spirituality, you cannot run away. You have to ground it, change it, and then you're ready to match the magnetic vibration of who you are, because you're a frequency, and you're going to meet the same kind of money, people, opportunities on that frequency. So as Norman was mentioning, if you're vibrating luck and fear and worry that this will happen, you will match another guy, another money, or a girl, or a health vibrating with luck. It is the law. And we often forget that. So we need to become grounded, and we need to make this shine from within to attract what we want. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen, because remember, your self-image, the temperature, the thermostat, putting you right back where you sat. And back to you, Norman.
And I think, and I might be totally wrong and off, but actually I don't think so. The AI cannot vibrate anything, because emotion vibrates and sends out a signal and receives it back. The AI, and that sets us apart, is just a program. The AI has no own wishes and desires. Without the prompt, without the question you put in, the AI does not work. It just sits there. It's like a car. If you don't move the car says not, oh, now I take a ride on my own and I drive around, because the experience of doing it gives us humans a joy, or not. But for the AI, it would just be a job. So why should the AI drive around? It does not get any emotional reaction, and therefore it cannot feel love, because it has no idea what love is. And it can just, based on human experiences, think how humans would think and what it would give them if the text is written in a certain way. But the AI never experienced that. And if it can be, I don't know. There's one part in Star Trek Next Generation. If some of you watched that, there's a guy called Data, and Data is a robot, human robot. And there's only one part, and that was the desire of Data, all those episodes, that he feels emotions. And I'm not quite sure what happens, but he starts feeling emotions just in one episode, and tears are coming down his cheeks. And it was very interesting that that the android can basically feel emotions once. And that's again what sets us apart from the AI and from robots and other things. God, if we call it for the moment, God created us in the picture of itself or himself or herself, whatever suits best for you. Which means if we just break it down to the basics, and if we go away from the outside view that we are created by his image, maybe the image is not the image we see, but the image is, what is it all about? And God, the universe, is all about creating. It's all about creation. And if you are at a deserted island, sitting there by yourself, doing your own routine, you cannot create anything because nobody pushes your triggers. You just sit in the sun and you relax all day. And at one point it gets boring. And then you might create. But again, the best thing to grow is any relationship. The easiest thing to stay as it is all the time is to just be on your own on the deserted island. But if you choose other people in your life, other people in your job, other opinions, a spouse, a partner that have different opinions, that challenge you, you realize one of two things. Either that thing that you like, you realize more. Oh, if he or she kisses me, that is something that I really like. Perfect. Then you realize that, but you did not realize that on your own. You needed the other person. Or you realize the total opposite. Oh, I totally dislike if he or she lets the socks laying in the floor. Perfect. Isn't that a great thing? Pop the champagne. You just realize what you don't want anymore. Now you can find a solution. You can create something different. You can create a different world where you say this is worth living in. So other people are a great chance to develop all the things in the outside world where you say, oh, I don't like that. Isn't it true that out of every adversity came the greatest inventions? If people would have never said, walking is great, but long distance walking, I really hate, they would never have invented the carriage or said we can take a donkey and ride along. But if you ride a donkey for 8 hours, your back might hurt. That I can imagine, never did it. So they invented more or less at one point the automobile and the trains and the airplanes to get faster from A to B. It was always the adversity, the polarity of, oh, I don't like that anymore. All the streets, the houses, different levels of houses. If you just have a flat house on the ground, it's burning hot. So people realized, oh, if I go further down into the basement, it's colder. Makes sense. So maybe you want to look at that AI is not a solution for everything. It just gets you probably a residual income that you don't have to work anymore, and AI does all the jobs and you just chill out. And if this happens at one point, the question is not if it happens, the question is when does it happen? Do you have an answer for what will you do with the automatic money that comes in and the AI and robots ruling more or less the work-life world? What would you do all day long besides getting bored and coming up with stupid ideas because you're so bored out of your life? Can you be happy in the now? Can you know what you would do if you would have the time? And it's not just chill around. The greatest gift we all have is in other people, because other people help us develop and see something new and see something different. Could you already start now finding the right group, speaking to the right people, enjoying the right surroundings, because you are a product of your 5 best friends? You heard that phrase probably before. Now your 5 best friends from the old days that you really met in person changed today. Your 5 most influences, I want to call it, might be on social media, might be on YouTube, might be on TikTok. And the way you think, I can see if I open up YouTube, the front page of YouTube, and you can see all the recommendations for you, because my YouTube looks different than your YouTube front page, and Vladi's looks totally different. If you show me your front page, I see what you do all day long and what kind of thoughts you let into your mind. The same with Instagram. If you go on this search page, you see a different page with previews of pictures or little movies. This all relates to your last searches, to your last, oh, I got stuck and I watched the video, I looked at a picture. It's just a blueprint of how your life will continue. Who do you listen to? The most important question, who do you listen to? To the people that are where you want to be and have been where you are right now. That's the people you listen to. And now you go to YouTube and to Instagram and all the other pages and see if I continue listening to those people, if I continue watching the game shows I watch or the trash show or the reality shows that I watch. Are those the people I aim at where I say I want to be like them? If yes, continue. If not, do something different. Otherwise, you will turn out like them. And just make sure that you know exactly what you want. And then use AI to support you on the way. But don't hand over to AI your whole life and say, now you do the thing and then I have a perfect life if everything is perfect. I don't believe that. Vladi, what are your last thoughts for today's call?
To say, like, do get an understanding. I love what Norman said, and that's the core. I can see how people can let themselves go and lose themselves by relying too much on it. Now, there are jobs where they can bring the analytics, like you're spending lots of numbers and tables and it can bring it out for you and do. I think that is an amazing for AI because humans make restores, if you have to spend, I used to do accounts. So, like in taxes. So when you're the end of the year, you're just going through. The car is back.
Cleaning in front of the house again.
I know. And then you have to go through the lines and then you tire it. It's in the evening. So this is where I see advantages for AI. We shouldn't be afraid of it. The problem is that we don't like change. We need to look at it as a tool, learn and understand it, learn to work with it, but throwing something at ChatGPT, my dears, are not understanding AI. Like I'm going through AI trainings that we were talking with Norman and learning how you have to program it at the backstage for it to give it an answer. But I'll tell you something. I threw something in there, my content, and it said, oh, brilliant idea, Vladi. And I said, yeah, but if I look at it from this, because obviously all of a sudden I realized that, but hold on. But then this is my part, which, like just reminding I don't agree with this and I don't like this. And the thing would be agreeing with me anything I threw it. So I thought like, I was going to say, just go and hide yourself, because if I didn't completely control it and kept reminding it that actually that's not how I do it, this is where, and it would just say, oh yeah, of course it would be. But people, what they do, they throw something in there. They grab the first thing it gives it to them without reading it and elaborating on it. And then you're actually reading your own post thinking, oh, actually, I wouldn't say that. Or people are texting you, like really pay attention to understanding, learn it, but don't replace your own thing, because yes, it can save you money and time if it's used correctly. And it is, because you're paying thousands for copyrights and for ads. And if it can pick, it's the algorithm. However, it's also bringing the impersonal stuff. I have more followers than I ever had before. And I'm at the point where I'm like stopped even letting people in and doing, because I don't even know who these people are. And if they are in your circle and you're talking to them, it's great. However, everything's becoming an algorithm. It feels like we live in a world of algorithm. And I was talking to my sister about my mom always loved a man in a uniform, mainly Navy. And we were having this conversation and my sister in the kitchen. And my phone is now suggesting a dating sites to me to date a man in a uniform. And I'm like, you can see how AI works. And then completely, I was like, I wasn't asking about myself, number one. Number two, that flipping thing is listening to me all the time. And it's just bringing the ads of things that I search and discuss. Not just search, discuss. It's an invasion of the privacy. Yes, have an AI that supports us once we ask. But it's just, as a human, you wouldn't, Norman talking a couple of episodes about the train. How would you respond or react to someone turning around away from you, reading their messages? How would, what would be your thoughts? This is the same thing. Respecting people's privacy and lives is just almost gone, and things get twisted because of AI and social media and everything's being recorded. People take something out of the context. It can ruin relationships and places just because they grab one thing, place it in completely different environment from the out of context of the whole story, and then it creates more problems, which then all these people are ready to give you a solution if you pay for them. So, it's like with the sport, you start playing with the heart, it becomes politics. It's what is the line we're going to draw to things where we all know with the mind and everything is you have to be handwriting to create a neural pathways in your brain. And when you're typing, you only use 8 neural pathways. When you handwrite with a cursive, you use over 10,000. 8, 10,000. Think about that. So why are we being pushed to use AI way too much? Because it's convenient for some. Because you become dumb, you become absolutely blurry, you go foggy vision, foggy brain, you become obedient. And you can go with this wherever you like to go with it. I won't go further, but that's part of it. So use it as a tool that will help you to tweak and save some money so you don't have to pay 10,000 for copyrights and emails. Yes, it's a good thing, but make sure you create the content and it tidies it up. Like my English is great, but it's not, I wasn't bored. So I still ask you to tidy it up to a British professional English because, like sometimes I rephrase the things my own way. So yes, do it if you're in a professional sort of culture and environment, but still be yourself. Connect. It will not connect to anything. Energetically, you create a connection. It doesn't. It's just a tool and helps you. It's just the car that takes you from point A to B. This is the same thing. It's the tool that takes you from point to A, but you need to stay and learn and grow yourself. But what we're doing is giving away our power and handing it over to someone else by thinking it making our life easier. But then you will find out that in 3 years, you rely on it so much that you can't actually create anything anymore. Because if they switch off the electricity, you won't actually be able to have notes and go through the things that you've grown and create something solid. And with that, I'll let Norman land it.
I just want to finish with one line that we learned from Bob Proctor. In everything you get understanding. That's the first step. And with that line, we leave you. Wish you a wonderful week and hope to see you and hear you again next week. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.